Hi and welcome to AI This Month, where we'll get you up to speed with all the latest AI news you might have missed. This episode, there is a lot to cover. We're going to share all the latest AI product releases, industry news, and security threats. For instance, did you know that your private, encrypted AI assistant conversations can actually be hacked, like ChatGPT? We'll also discuss the latest stats on how AI is changing the market, if you're a tech professional, new tools that developers can use right now, and how AI is being used by businesses in the medical industry. So let's dive straight in, starting with industry news. OpenAI is looking to make it big in Hollywood, and it's encouraging filmmakers to use its new video generator in their work. The AI company has scheduled meetings with Hollywood studios, media executives, and talent agencies this month to form partnership. This really shows where OpenAI is going since they previewed Sora last month. Sora is an unreleased service that can generate realistic videos about a minute in length from a single text prompt. According to the latest research from CompTIA, the number of tech jobs has gone down. However, the demand for tech employees with AI-related skills has jumped to be about 10% of all job postings, and that's up from 6% just 2 years ago. Tech companies are still hiring, but the industry experts say that they're reshaping workforces to align with emerging technical skills around AI, and they're looking more at those soft skills like creativity, continuous learning, and leadership. And the best thing you can do is make sure that you've got some sort of AI qualification on your resume, some sort of experience there, and when you go for an interview, that you can speak to those soft skills with tangible examples and not just speak about your technical skills. We've all seen disembodied AI like Siri and Cortana, but right now the big tech companies are working on giving these models a humanoid robot body, real sci-fi kind of stuff. Now, these are industry leaders like Google, Microsoft, Tesla, and Boston Dynamics, and even Nvidia. And this is called embodiment, and this is something Nvidia says that we have the technology to now work on. Now, to this end, Nvidia has announced Project Groot, and Groot stands for Generalist Robot 00 Technology, and it's a pretty obvious Marvel reference. So hopefully it can say just more than 3 words. Now, this model will serve as an AI mind for embodied robots, enabling them to hopefully learn skills and solve various tasks on the fly. Nvidia has admitted that this project is a moonshot to solve embodied AGI problems. And if you're not familiar with the term AGI, I wouldn't blame you. Now, AGI means artificial general intelligence. That's a much debated term for an AI that can do everything a human can do. Currently, there are 3 different kinds of AI classifications. You've got ANI, which is artificial narrow intelligence, which is the kind that we've got now. It can do one thing very well, but it can't do the broad spectrum of what we can do as humans. Then you've got AGI, artificial general intelligence, which could do everything we can do as a human. And then you've got ASI, or artificial super intelligence, which could do everything we can do as humans, but do it better. So think Skynet, for example. We wouldn't be able to do that as humans, and that would classify as an artificial super intelligence. Now, some people think that AGI and ASI are either a long way off or completely impossible, which is why it's considered a bit of a moonshot project. But trying to achieve this could be the first steps, both literally and metaphorically, having a walking, talking humanoid AI such as robotic assistants or workers among us. On a side note, researchers in Zurich have taught a quadruple pedal robot to be adept at parkour and dealing with tricky terrain, so robots could soon be making some real leaps and bounds. Now, an AI tool called Mia has been tested by the UK's National Health Service, and in the process it identified tiny signs of breast cancer in 11 women that had been completely missed by human doctors. Now, cancer at the early stages can be incredibly hard to spot, and it's practically invisible to the human naked eye. Now, when it's detected at this stage, survival rates are incredibly high, which is why early detection is so vital. Now, because Mia works instantly, it has the potential to reduce waiting times for these kind of results from 14 days down to 3. AI might not just be the key to detecting cancers, but also curing them. MIT researchers are currently taking advantage of AI advances to develop tools for personalized immunotherapies for cancer patients. Now, in Australia, the Bio21 Institute is investigating ways to use AI to break through drug treatments for battling cancer. A team led by Google scientists has developed a machine learning tool that can help detect and monitor health conditions by evaluating noises such as coughing and breathing. And doing that, it can detect things like COVID-19 and tuberculosis. But let's move on to product news. And this month, we've got a lot to talk about this. Claude 3, GPT-5, Grok, AI content generator powered by Amazon Bedrock, and OpenAI Whisper and Mistral on Azure. So let's dive straight into it. This month, Anthropic launched Claude 3, which is a family of AI models that directly compete with OpenAI's GPT. Now, if you're not familiar with GPTs by now, they're the AI models that power the widely popular ChatGPT service and Microsoft Copilot. Anthropic's Claude is seen as a competitor in this space, and it was founded by X-Star from OpenAI. Now, according to Anthropic, these new Claude 3 models approach near-human capability, and they could allegedly detect when they were being tested and called it out. Claude 3 also beat GPT-4, which is OpenAI's most advanced model, on 10 popular AI benchmarks, something no other model has done to date. Now, if you want to test out Claude for yourself, all 3 models are available now through their website, though the most powerful is subscription only. It's also available via API for developers. Now, if you're looking to use Google Cloud's Vertex AI platform or Amazon Bedrock, you can also access the Claude 3 models there too. Like most AI offerings, the 3 models are tiered based on speed and performance. You've got Claude 3's Haiku as the baby bear, Sonnet as the middle bear, and Opus as the big bear. It'll be up to you to choose which one is just right and find your Goldilocks model. Now, all three models have a 200,000 token context window. Opus is available through Claude Pro, which costs about $20 per month. Now, according to industry reports, GPT-5 is coming. We'll likely see it by the middle of this year. And this means that we'll see a more powerful version of ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot in the near future, since it's very likely that the current GPT-4 model that powers these will be switched out for the new one. Now, while OpenAI hasn't officially announced the release date or details, anonymous sources have revealed that some enterprise customers have already received demos of GPT-5, and they've described it as materially better. They've also hinted that it has the ability to launch AI agents to perform tasks automatically. That said, GPT-5 is apparently still being trained and tested for vulnerabilities. Elon Musk's company, xAI, has released the base model weights and network architecture of Grok 1, a large language model that also competes with GPT. Now, Grok 1 can be accessed for download at GitHub, and the weights can be accessed through a torrent link that's listed on the GitHub page. Now, OpenAI's GPT models are famous for having restricted weights, which means that you're limited to being able to train these models to perform a specific task. Meanwhile, Grok 1 joins the ranks of Google's Gemma and Meta's Llama models for having open weight. But is Grok usable? With its weights, it's so big that you need a whole rack of expensive GPUs just to run it. Now, people are working on quantized versions that reduce its size so it can work on consumer GPU hardware, but this is expected to dramatically reduce its processing capacity as a bit of a trade-off. This month, Nvidia unveiled Blackwell B200, the company's most powerful single-chip GPU, with 208 billion transistors. Now, it's designed to reduce the AI inference operating costs, like running ChatGPT, and energy consumption by about 24 times compared to the H100. They've also released a super chip of sorts, the GPT200, which combines two of these Blackwell B200 chips and a Grace CPU for more performance. One of the things that has really held back the field of progress and research in AI has been the shortage of compute power. And so Nvidia says that the Blackwell-based products will be available for various partners starting later this year. That's really going to meet demand. Meanwhile, LightMatter, which is a startup founded by 3 MIT alumni, is using photonic technology to try and create light-based computing. The company's first two products are a chip specializing in AI operations and an interconnect that facilitates data between these chips. They're using both photons and electrons to drive more efficient operations. Contentful and Amazon have partnered to release a new content generation app called AI Content Generator, powered by Amazon Bedrock. Quite a mouthful, I know. Now, it is a tool to create, rewrite, translate, and summarize content, something that they might have wanted to do when coming up with this app title. And basically, it's a tool that allows you to scale content across global experiences, brands, and channels. Now, let's say that you're a content generator, and one thing that you want to do is rewrite content to fit another channel. You might have a really long case study and you want to turn it into a blog post. One of the things you can do is enter that content into the app, select a source and output field, change the tone to be shorter, and then hit generate, and then you'll have that content. You can also set a brand profile to make sure that your output stays on brand. You can use this app to translate things to other locations or automatically generate SEO keywords and description. Now, to use this app, you need an AWS account and AWS credentials that allow for Bedrock access. So you're going to be messing around with access key IDs, and somebody with an AWS admin access is required to set up permissions. Plus, each use of this tool creates Amazon Bedrock charges. All of this creates a pretty high bar for usage, considering that a lot of the things that this app reportedly does are things that people can currently do now with ChatGPT without getting charged per use or having to get an admin involved. Sure, you need to use prompt engineering for those things or set up a custom GPT, but that's not always a massive friction point for people. However, with this app, you can choose the AI model that you want to use and experiment with them. So if you want to use Anthropic's Claude, Meta's Llama, or Amazon's Titan, this is the tool you could use to do that. Now, does it mean that you can experiment with highly tailoring a content model to purpose? That will be interesting to see. And the most likely use cases are not going to be for small to medium businesses. They're going to be for large organizations reconstructing entire websites in different languages, or automating content generation for mature enterprise companies who have the time to dabble in messing around with those content models, or for media companies looking to mass create AI content. Now, like with all AI tools, you're going to have humans that validate your output as part of your business processes. And that's going to be key to making sure that you're not producing outputs that are negatively impactful on your brand. And you want to make sure that the tool is actually not creating more editorial work than it's trying to say. Generative AI still produces a lot of generic and at times inaccurate content, which again could be damaging to your brand. You want to have those end-to-end processes built around the tool when you use it. OpenAI Whisper on Azure is now generally available. Now, Whisper is a speech-to-text model from OpenAI that developers can use to transcribe audio files. Now, you can use the Whisper API on both Azure OpenAI services as well as Azure AI speech services on production workloads, and you can know that it's backed by that enterprise readiness promise from Azure. And that means you've got a lot of options as a developer when it comes to using speech-to-text. In other Azure news, Mistral's flagship model, Mistral Large, is available on Azure. Now, if you don't know about Mistral, it's a European challenger to OpenAI, whose models have been going toe-to-toe with the GPT family. Microsoft has poured 15 million euros into this French firm. Now, Mistral Large ranks directly after GPT-4 based on standard benchmarks, and while Mistral's previous AI models have had open weights, Mistral Large unfortunately doesn't. Now, this move is no doubt meant to show that Microsoft has a large variety of choices when it comes to AI models, something Amazon has been trying to get the competitive edge in. And now for some security news. Researchers have devised an attack that can decipher your private AI responses, even if they're encrypted. This attack exploits a side channel present in major AI assistants, with the exception of Google Gemini. So we're talking about models such as Microsoft Copilot or OpenAI. It then refines the raw results through a large language models that are being trained to decipher your AI responses. The long and short of it is that if someone with a passive adversary in the middle position is sniffing your data packets, they can figure out what you're talking about over half of the time. This means anyone can read your private chat sent from AI assistants. It can happen without the provider or the client's knowledge. The research also showed that the way that OpenAI encrypts the data is flawed, so the context and the messages are exposed. An example of this attack is that if you got a message from ChatGPT like, yes, there are several important legal considerations that couples should be aware of when considering a divorce, the attacker might be able to read something to the effect of, yes, there are several potential legal considerations that someone should be aware of when considering a divorce. Now, there's only a very slight amount of differences between those, but you can infer what the conversation is about, so privacy has been breached. And the same is true for a service like Microsoft Copilot, and there's a public video available showing this attack in action against that service. Now, even though it only deduces what you're talking about with 55% accuracy, as we've shown, that level can absolutely breach the confidentiality of your sessions. Researchers suggested 2 ways to mitigate this kind of attack: stop sending packets all at one time, or add random spaces between them. Now, both approaches come with the potential to degrade the chatbot experience due to delays, but they do increase security. Now, OpenAI and Cloudflare have implemented the padding migration since the research was released, but the old adage still applies: don't enter personally identifiable information or sensitive information into these tools. And that's it. There was a lot of AI news this time around, and you're all up to speed with the latest, so go forth with the confidence that you're now in the know. And as always, keep being awesome, gurus.